Done to them as my PC just crashed for some reason, so that is more than unfortunate. As we are going to be jumping straight back into the action here. If my controls would work. Hello, thank you. So we will be missing some of the game as spectate function is also trying to support just how awkward this entire situation has been. But let's look to jump into that game. We'll fix the overlay here and try to remain professional. Well, we are back and we will be going straight back into the game. We now see a 3-1 lead as another kill falls up towards the top side for the side of Momentum, who find themselves their 4th kill of the game. Now sitting just about 1,000 gold ahead, 1,500 roughly, and Coiled Insanity has picked himself up 3 kills already, so the Viego certainly online.
Need to start the Discord stream as well.
Oh.
So I can watch.
I do apologize for that.
All good.
Just some small technical difficulties, but we have figured the situation out now. I believe that you are also live and able to watch the game.
I am live.
That is wonderful. So, we are back into the game here. Xandarts finds himself a good trade in mid lane, but he does get interrupted. Now Faye jumps forward onto Flay. Once again, he just falls to that gang pressure. And maybe yet another dive up towards the top side as they're really trying to punish that gangplank over and over and over again. He flashes, but there is no getting away from Code Insanity here. It does not actually pick up the soul to negate the turret aggro, but does find his way outside of the turret. This does, however, mean that the bottom side of the dragon will go over to the side of Ruination here.
Would love to see the Viego hop into the Rift Health here and just trade objectives while the enemy team is bot side anyways, instead of getting these 2 blades. Or we might look to...
Maybe? No, you can't be serious, man. Not just another dive after a TP. This would not be okay. Coil Insanity smites the minion to try to stay alive, but this time around the dive goes all kinds of wrong. And Ruzu, he just tongue lashes for the last final kill. So at least a 1-for-1 this time from the side of Nixon, but once again missing the TP and missing more minion waves.
Yeah, I mean, he is so far behind now. Like, I'm pretty sure he's 2 levels behind to Russo right now. And a massive goal lead behind 1k goal at 10 minutes.
And even bigger advantage in the jungle as Ben21 jumps forward here, gets the wild growth on him, as Faye tries to at least turn some pressure back, and does manage to make Ben21 actually back off here. Another nice Q, as the Mystic shots have been landing very nicely here for the side of Ezreal. And then Faye tries to re-engage, but... forcing out the Lulu flash will all that is done here. Will be all that is done here. Xandarts not finding that Q in mid lane. The matchup looking pretty even so far, as the CS is almost dead even. It is dead even at the moment even.
Yeah, it's dead even. The only real advantage, there's like high advantages in the top lane. Both ADCs pretty similar TS.
Maybe we see that advantage pushed further as well. Although the XP lead is not quite 2 levels, maybe just another solo kill. Here we do see the oranges to get out of the Devour. This is one of the interactions that we had been talking about before.
Yeah.
Oh, flash forward here from Code Insanity, but still missing the W. Xandart still picking up that kill for himself. A little bit unfortunate on the coordination there. From the side of the mid jungle 2v2. Faye now here to try to at least pick up the wave and help Code of Worlds not fall to the 2v2 as well. He doesn't seem to be very afraid and rather looking to kill Xandarts off, who should still have the Nivea passive available for himself. But just pushing in that wave here is Xandarts. Now Ruzu finding himself behind Nixon. How does he get out of the situation this time around? The slow already connecting. The Devour is not available, but the stun means that the oranges come out here. Cold Insanity now roaming up through the river and will certainly mean that he can pick up another kill for himself. 5 kills on a Viego. That's terrifying.
I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on them, but 5 kills on the Viego this early in the game, this is not looking good. Even though the goal lead is only 2,000 or 3,000 rather down at the moment. But this Viego is massive. And he'll get the Starix as well, so he'll basically be unkillable with the Lulu shields and everything. And the Devour from Tom Kench as well.
And even
This is
though it
gonna be
has not
interesting.
necessarily been because it's a Viego, it is certainly absolutely terrifying to see a Viego out of all champions being this incredibly snowballed. Now, we were doubting the Tom Kench pick, but we have to say this is an absolutely outstanding pick here. Meanwhile, on the bot side, we see that they're once again left on an island completely. Viego not paying any attention down towards that lane, as Ruzu finds both the jungler and the top laner here, but he's not afraid. The Herald being put down already, and he keeps on trading back.
I think they were a little bit scared because they don't know where Viego is. To take that 1v2 fight.
Oh, another engage here coming out from the side of Faye, who has been very happy to actually go in and set off the trigger. Now the damage is being traded from Ben to 1, as he did manage to sidestep the initial W and maybe find a kill for himself in that 2v2. Yes, he does. The killer instinct securing the last auto tag, and now they might even look to set up a potential dive. Code Insanity goes over, but Code of Worlds takes the blast cone and actually escapes that pressure on the top side.
I mean, this Tom Kench pressure is so massive. Like,
Ooh, and even transferring it to mid lane, Ignite comes out as he is tanking up the turret for the moment, does use the the thick skin rather, and converts the grey health into a shield. Now Code Insanity is looking over at the side of Code of Worlds, who just about gets away, and both of them will look to now secure themselves the Scuttle Crab. Kodor has made his way into the bush, and Xanax is considerably low, so Cold will just smite it and try to get away, as his bot lane is reset in base.
I mean, this Tom Kench is massive. Level 11, he's 304. He got it already. His mythic, his Tom... not his Tom Kench, his... Hobby boots. And his Bramble. I'm not sure how they're gonna stop this Tom Kench. This guy seems a bit unkillable at the moment.
He does. Now, Ezreal, not the worst at shredding tanks, especially with that Divine Sundra. So maybe just through the sheer ability to kite back. But Syndra, on the other hand, not only is she set down with 3 deaths, but also just not great in general at dealing with these tanks.
I mean, we might need to see... This sounds controversial, but maybe a Blade of the Ruin King from the side of Ezreal, just to get more tank threat items in.
I don't think that sounds controversial at all. In fact, maybe even from the Xin Zhao. It's a bit of an olden build, but I could certainly see that adaptation, as it does give him nice sticking power to the target. Ooh, cute little sidestep for Nixon here. Means that Tom Kench just tanks a turret shot for free.
Yeah, but as we can see, he heals so much with the Qs and the E passive.
Ooh,
So
he does. Now this 3-man squad from the side of Ruination that has been successful in that bot lane once again finds himself in that composition in order to try to maybe secure some advantages before starting off the dragon. Ben to 1 is taking a page out of the book that we had been previously talking about of how to deal with the Ezreal, why he likes that matchup. Now he does flash backwards as Code of Worlds was waiting for him in that bush, so they get the Kai'Sa ult, they get the flash, and they even get the exhaust. And all they lose is an Ezreal ult and a heal.
I mean, to be honest, this Tom Kench GP matchup, it almost feels like that he can just straight up dive him solo if he knows where Xin Zhao is.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that, as Cruel Insanity finally paying some attention down towards the bot lane will be spotted out by Code of Worlds. Standouts also transferring the pressure from mid lane, from having priority there, down towards this dragon area, as this does seem to be an area of contention. Already a dragon in favor of the side of Ruination, as a nice little stone coming out from Magic TM onto the Kai'Sa. Ooh, that Anivia Q could have been massive. Now we will see Nixon TPing in a rather aggressive manner, and Code of Worlds find himself completely caught out and secured by Ruzu, who now is looking at the Ezreal, who does just hop over the wall with the Arcane Shift.
Even just the Ezreal Q dealing 0 damage to the Tom Kench. He just eats this up and says, you ain't dealing any damage to me.
Yeah.
This really looks rough.
It really, really does. But now they are looking to make it even rougher, as they've only dove him twice so far. So why not make it 3 times? Tanking up the turret is Ruzu at the moment. Yes, they will secure the kill as a 4-man squad. Code Insanity just coming to say hi as well.
think this is actually the fourth time they've dived him.
Oh,
Pretty
maybe
sure
you
they
are
dived
right.
him 3 times top lane.
Ugh, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. It just looks really, really rough at the moment. GP,
Yeah.
not the worst in terms of scaling, can certainly look to come back through some sort of angle. Being at 90 CS at 18 minutes does not look beneficial for that narrative.
Nah, not at all. Maybe he can do a bit to the Tahm Kench with this Divine Sunder, but I doubt it. This Tahm Kench is massive with the Thornmail, the mythic item, and the Tabis.
Do you see any way for them to come back here?
I mean, it would be some Ezreal getting really fed.
Well, we did see that from Crown of the Ruin King, and maybe they're looking to secure some advantages away from the Tahm Kench, who is not available to join this fight as of right now. It does have the TP available. Code of Insanity fighting back, and now they're just collapsing as a 4-man squad. Code of Worlds trying to jump forward, but 2 people already falling, means that Viego is getting resets. Code of Worlds trying to aggress further onto Ben2-1, but he's healing, and the peel coming out from Lulu. Flay once again making the difference for his AD carry here. W coming out for the GP to get himself out of that devour, but now here is the knockup, and this will secure the next tongue lash, as he does do indeed. And yeah, another solo kill for the Tahm Kench, and a Rift Herald for the side of Momentum, as they're looking to pick exactly that up for themselves.
They
Did
didn't
they actually get there?
No, they didn't.
Oh.
They actually didn't make it. I think the Viego accidentally hit the front of the Herald instead of the eye of the Herald there,
Well,
before his
unlucky.
smite went off.
That could have been a tool that
It
would...
do look, but this is actually going down fast. The
Yeah, it's dead.
20-second Baron at 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. They were like, oh man, we didn't get that Herald. Ah, guess we'll take the Baron now.
Yeah. I mean, this looks really rough, being down almost 10,000 gold at 20 minutes and a Baron down. This is looking really rough. I'm not sure how they're gonna come back from this.
Well, we saw a bit of an attempt onto the life of Cold Insanity. Oh, just don't look at how much damage the TK is taking. It's not... I mean, I can't, because I literally cannot see it.
Yeah, I mean, the healing from the Tongue Lash and the E passive is just too much for the damage being dealt.
I think a single Tongue Lash does about 3 times the percentage of the Ezreal's HP bar compared to one Mystic Shot.
Yeah. Pretty much sums up how much damage he takes.
Well, we did see an attempt, at least, coming out from the side of NRN, who've certainly not given up, as Nixon finds himself opposed of Cold Insanity. Ben2-1 jumping in with the plasma stacks being applied from the CC onto him, and will pick himself up a kill on the GP as well. Everyone coming together just to really shut that man down.
Yeah, I mean, Nixon got a really rough game, it looks like, but there's not much to do, actually. Like, he got dove at level 2 and lost those 3 waves, and from there on, it's pretty much just
Got
downwards.
dove at level 5, lost 3 more waves.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a rough game, but yeah.
Well, it won't be the last one of the tournament, right? This is just Ruination's first game, and they can certainly look to actually even make Division 1 still. With SG Momentum in the position that they are in right now, they do look to just make it 3-0 and go into Division 1. I think they're already confirmed to go into Division 1, as they're sitting at 2-0. But maybe we do see...
It would take a miracle, in my opinion, to come back from this game, so I think this spot is already 100% secured from...
Oh, Xanax just blows Ezreal up, and now Code of Worlds that try to go in finds just a Nivea egg instead of a full kill conversion. Big blob of people actually losing a good chunk of HP, as the Syndra does finally shut Xandarts down, but here is Ben2-1 in order to try to clean it up, and there are not many people better at cleaning up fights than Viego. Just getting soul after soul after soul, and a 5-for-1 trade will mean that they're starting to push in the base here.
I mean, I think they're actually gonna end here.
I think
With
I could
the
see that
second cannon
happening
wave
as well.
as well.
Oh, but there is an Ezreal back alive here, as Faye also just seconds away from respawning. Code of Worlds being next up, and then Nixon coming. Vent2-1 trying to jump in aggressively, forcing down the Ezreal and back into his base. As Code Insanity and Ruzo are strictly prioritizing the turrets here. We have seen some pretty miraculous base defenses, as Code of Worlds tries to jump in but does not even deal a lot of damage to Vent2-1. Doesn't even get through the shield, honestly. Code Insanity now having picked up a soul means that he can start getting those resets. Nixon trying to at least kill the Anivia, but not even close. And now they find Faye in their fountain, as the Nexus is already lost half HP. They're just trying to play with their food at the moment. Vent2-1 not even going down to the Mystic shots that had been good earlier, but have been a little bit lackluster. 3-0 here for the side of SG Momentum in the group, and we will be seeing them in Division 1. So that ties that up and puts a bow on it all. Talk to me a little bit about what happened this game. You said you started out with talking a little bit about what happened to the GP. What went on afterwards?
I mean, this is just like the snowball effect. When the GP first died and lost those 3 waves, Viego could just keep coming back and setting this GP further and further behind. And the Kaiser and Lulu actually, even though I thought they were going to be a strong side, they actually played a weak side position really well. The Lulu got caught up a bit, but if the side of NIN should have been back in the game, they should have focused a lot more about punishing the bot side.
Was there a particular player that stood out to you this game?
I mean, Russo with the Tahm Kench domination.
We doubted the pick. We literally were like, well, we don't know about this pick. This seems kind of like a self-counter pick. And he was like, no. This is a hard counter the other way.
He really showed us we were wrong from the start of the game. Like the early level 1 trades, the level 2 solo bolo with the Ignite top lane. We even had some speculations about the Ignite TP on him, but he just showed and proved us wrong on all those speculations.
Well, that does end up finishing the group for SG Momentum here, as I believe they're now sitting at 3-0. Thank you for coming on the cast, as I do believe that we're now going to be seeing Gentle Monkey up against the squad of, I think 100%. Yes, indeed it is.
It's OH%.
And I just need a couple of minutes to set everything up, and I will be back momentarily coming out with Yamden here. Thank you for coming on, Jonas. Anything you want to say at the end?
I mean, thank you for the lovely time and casting together.
It
was amazing. A lovely time as always.
Well, thank you so much.
Have fun casting the next game.
We will be jumping directly into the match of Gentle Monkey and 100%. Now with me, I have my wonderful co-host Yamden. Yamden, what's up? How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you guys doing, man?
Oh, we just watched a tremendous game once again coming out from the side of SG Momentum, who really, really look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, momentum looks really, really strong right now.
Well, I think that we already have the draft concluded for the side of that matchup that I had previously been talking about. So without further ado, let me transition into that. And let's talk a little bit about what went down here. So, let's go over the bands first. Talk to me a little bit about what you see coming out here from the bands.
Okay. Well, both of them have some really solid first bands. Diego obviously being really strong right now. Um, Followed up by the Tom Kench band, who's also pretty um, he's pretty unkillable right now. He's also just incredibly strong, just tanky, good front line all around as well. Followed by the Jack Snar band. These are two really good bands. I think with the Jax band, it's quite interesting unless the enemy team has a really strong top laner interesting on the Jax. The Gnar band though definitely makes sense. He's just all good around fighter, so that makes sense in that sense too. Hecarim band and the Jinx band that's also quite interesting. I'm not too sure what inspired those. You probably have more information on that though.
Well, Jiong had an absolutely amazing game in his first game on the Hecarim, so there was, I mean, it looked pretty obvious that they would ban that out here. It's not really like his main, but like he looked really really good on it, and he did play it a little bit this season as well. So then let's talk a little bit more about what we saw coming out in phase one of the draft.
Yeah. So in phase one of the draft, we can both see that the bot lanes were ended up being picked first. They went with the interesting pick of the Ziggs and the Pike on OH sides, and um, the Ziggs pick is not too surprising. However, the Pike pick is quite interesting. But I guess if you think about it, it makes quite sense. I actually do like OH's side, but they're facing up into a tough matchup of Jhin and Leona. Leona has a lot of lockdown, and Jhin has really good follow up damage and CC for whatever lockdown she has in lane as well. Of course, we see the Xin Zhao being pulled out again in the jungle. That's a very good, strong, all-around good pick for them. I think it pairs really nicely with the Leona, though, later on in the game. On the other side, though, we have the Kiana, who I think this is one of the first times so I've seen Kiana be pulled out. So this is going to be quite interesting to watch and see.
Yesterday we were really really hoping to see a Kiana come out. We did not end up getting that, but today they give us the goods. And then in the end, they do end up picking themselves up a Vi and a Shen. We mentioned in yesterday's broadcast how strong we think Shen is, like as a solid answer or as a solid top laner. It is going to be a counter pick into the Ornn here, or rather an answer into the Ornn. How do you feel about that top lane matchup?
Yeah, it's going to be. I do like the Shen pick a lot, especially with the Kiana and the Vi. You can just follow up, even with the Pike as well. Just follow up on either of them if they plan on engaging. And he has that global presence as well. Ornn though is a really good frontline pick, especially into their team. He can both disengage and engage for them. He's just good, strong. I feel like it rounds off the comp really, really well in that sense.
Yeah, and
Having
then we
Yeah, go
do
ahead.
see that Lissandra matchup into the Kiana. And Lissandra being someone that really, really shuts down aggressive mid laners. As I think that there will be a pause at the start of the game, so we don't even have to transition yet. We can just wait and see. So, yeah, I mentioned how well the Lissandra can shut down the Kiana and even prevent her from roaming. So, talk to me a little bit about what you want to see for the side of 100% and how they can free the Kiana out of the lane.
Yeah, for 100%, I think they just have a really good uh well, really, they just have a really good engage and dive comp. If Kiana decides to dive, they have Shen to back her up. Even Vi as well has good follow up for Kiana to either engage on it first or to just absorb the initial CC that GM might want to throw at Vi or the Kiana initially. So it's
Have
looking
managed to
really
find
solid.
our way into the game as proper, and Yoshimitsu had an absolutely outstanding game. Some of the most creative pathing that we've seen coming out from any jungler so far in the SLE. So once again on the Xin Zhao, as I was not wrong, there is going to be a bit of a delay here, as I will just transition back into draft then, and we can talk a little bit more about the picks. Sorry for cutting you off a little bit earlier, but that is the reality of live casting. Right, so I mentioned that we have that mid lane matchup, and you talked to me a little bit about it. Then how do you think the mid lane jungle 2v2 goes? Who has the favor here?
I think initially early on, both the Vi and the Kiana have initially just really good, strong early. Lissandra, of course, has really good lockdown, but she needs to have some really good follow-up of that. Now, Zen, of course, he has good follow-up. He has really good early game damage as well. But Kiana, she's an assassin. She's gonna one-shot that Xin Zhao if she has the chance. Same as Vi. She has really good lockdown as well to just pin down the Xin Zhao for allow Kiana to try and follow up. Of course, Lissandra's CC is always a threat, so they're gonna have to be a bit cautious if they really want to be aggressive on it. It's gonna be interesting to see. I think it's pretty even just because Lissandra's CC and just presence is strong enough to try and fend off Kiana and Vi. But yeah,
Well, then Lissandra does have the advantage of being able to actually build herself an early Zonya's Hourglass, which is effective against both the Kiana and the Vi, as there's physical damage coming out from both. And in general, the entire top side kind of only does physical damage. However, the Ziggs does sort of remedy that, and we've not seen a lot of Ziggs bot lane yet. I'm personally a very big fan of it. I think Jonas, that we had on earlier, is also a very big fan of the Ziggs, and finding it on red side is a little bit surprising, but that's because we haven't seen a ton of priority yet. I would believe that as the link goes on, that will probably increase that priority. But yeah, let's find out and see how these two teams actually do match up against each other, as the aggressive bot lane once again coming out from the side of Gentle Monkey. We had that same bot lane, we had the same jungler yesterday in their first match, debuting with a very strong start, and this time around we even have the pleasure of them having renamed, so that I can maybe pronounce some of the names a little bit better. As we just, I think we're about to approach the end of the pause, as there had been some client lag coming out from some of the players, so they did have to restart briefly. Until then, what do you expect to see coming out for the early jungle pathing?
for early jungle pathing, I expect them to try Zen try to. I think both will probably path bot, especially Zen. I think he will be starting around blue. Although in this pause he is recalling, so I'm not too sure. It's just because when they path top lane, there isn't too much to be done if they go there because it's a Shen and an Ornn. Not much can be done when you gank them unless you commit a ton of resources to them, at least.
Do you think that the two bot lanes do set up well for ganks then?
Oh yeah, for sure. Leona has really good lockdown. She can initiate really well. Pyke as well. You can't count him out. His pulls are like they're both surprising and they can be very deadly as well. Zig CC as well can also catch a lot of people out with his bomb or his slow bombs as well. So it sets up pretty nicely for Vi or Kion if they decide to roam bot.
That might be the case, and I think that one of the reasons we might be seeing Yoshimitsu actually start in the bot lane is because of the level 2 gank possibility. I love level 2 ganks. I don't know how many more times I have to see this. We gotta see more of these ganks. They exploit people in ways that they simply are not expecting or respecting in 80% of the time. So
Yeah.
Yoshimitsu having absolutely fantastic pathing yesterday. I guess I'm just repeating myself over and over again, but that really, really did look absolutely fantastic, and maybe we see another level 2 gank coming out from his side.
Yeah, for sure.
The pause does still continue as we have our first longer pause, now approaching the 5-minute mark. It is a little bit unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, and gentle them, but we will just stall out and talk a little bit more about what we've seen so far in the draft, what we expect to see in the game. Thank you for remaining patient. Thank you for remaining with us. This is the reality of the online era. I keep saying this. I mean, I had my own technical problems earlier. That was pretty awkward. Hope that doesn't happen again. But yeah, Yamden, you are not playing on the European server normally, correct?
No, I actually don't even have an account on EUS.
Well,
I, yeah, for those that don't know, I'm from America, so I play on the North American server.
okay. Well, then, how do you contrast what we've seen so far in the SLE potentially to what we've learned from your home server?
Honestly, not too much. Um, the way they play are very similar. The drafts and bans are also very similar. The picks are very similar. There isn't too much of a difference, honestly, if I'm honest. I guess I have seen a lot more mid talent coming out from here than opposed to NA, but I think that's like the only really big standout.
Mm.
But there's been a lot of standout mid laners in this league. On top of my head, we have Parker, we have Cajun. Um, oh,
Very true. Very, very true. And I think that the gentle monkey mid laner, Sploxil, is also pretty good. He looked very, very good in his game yesterday. And I did have troubles pronouncing that name, as I heard that I also had trouble pronouncing their support's name, and that's why they chose to rename, which makes me a little bit cry inside. But it's okay, guys. I didn't even want to do it right. Anyway, it is very nice of them to actually to come that step towards me, and it looks so good in game to see like a squad of full names. I know RT1 did it. I'm now seeing some of the Gentle Monkey players do it, and it's just nice to see them all come together as a community. And I think that's one of the big takeaways from the tournament in general. I mean, we're a pretty small community at the moment, but we're all coming together, and with that, with coming together, we're actually expanding and we're reaching further and we're reaching new people. I mean, we have our first NA caster here, right? Literally across the pond casting for you, which does make some of the time zone stuff pretty interesting, right?
yeah, for sure. As you can see, it's bright and sunny over here.
It is not that sunny where I live, but my lighting does fix that problem, as I don't know, it's pretty funny. I just have like a huge lamp set up behind the camera in order to try to keep me nice and pretty. The pause still continues. I do apologize. I'm not really sure why. They just keep saying, oh, internet connections with internet issues, and they keep reconnecting, as I believe that you guys can actually hear that in the background with people disconnecting and reconnecting all the time. Yeah. So it does actually look like people are ready now. So maybe we can finally start to unpause the game here in just a few moments. Yeah, I think I'm just really excited to see these two teams clash. 100% looking really, really good. On day one, I believe they played. And since then, we haven't seen them play. And Gentle Monkey coming out to a very dominant first game yesterday. So, looking pretty good for both of these teams. And finally, we are actually into the game here. Thank you for waiting, everyone. Thank you for being patient. Yoshimitsu once again going for that ward here. And now Jeong starting up the recall. Last game, we saw the jungler starting up the recall, path into the base, pick up the sweeper, walk to that ward, that exact same ward, and then give experience over to the mid laner. And that might be the case once again, as I see Jeong coming out of the base and actually pathing towards that. Now with the minions, the wonderful spectator bug. As I say that, it seems to have fixed itself. Sometimes all you have to do is complain. Now, they can't actually give over the experience as the ward was placed so late. So Yoshimitsu adapting to what we had been talking about already, and has already find himself an advantage of how he can exploit that, placing the ward so late that you can't get the experience, because you simply have to do the buff. This is why I love this guy, and I'm not just saying that as a biased caster, but I think it's just interesting to see him sort of redefining some of the standards that we have seen so far.
Oh, yes, for sure. As we can see, he's already trying to path bot. He's going for golems though, so he's immediately ganking for it. So he might still do a full clear, but we will find out what he decides to do next. By, of course, skipping golems to try and I think he's going to do 3 camps and then go to Scuttle, I believe.
Raptor's already cleared. We can see that she does not take her Krugs on the side, whereas you mentioned that Yoshimitsu does seem to opt for a full clear option. So maybe I had been praising him way too much, as level 2 is achieved first by the side of 100% Spotlight, and Uncertain is actually going down first to the Ziggs Pike. Very aggressive start here coming from the side of Meatbeater, who finds himself first blood, or finds his Ziggs the first blood. Travier also looking very, very good in their first game. Yeah.
Yeah, really well played by Meat Eater over there. I don't think GM's bot lane respected the Piper Ziggs damage too much, because it just slowly died right there and couldn't get out. Once that Pike hook lands on you, it's very difficult to get out of it.
Ooh,
But
also
up
a
in
good
top
trade
lane,
here from the side of Moriarty onto Nishiko, as they do brawl it out for now. Obviously, that grass battle is something that always we have to observe up towards the top side.
and
Especially
Zed is, I think, is going to have top as well, so this lane is pushing in, so they might try and do a tower dive up here. We'll see if they want to try that, though. It is a Shen, so you have to be careful with tower diving him.
Well, Jiyoung already finding himself the Scuttle Crab. His first game also being very, very good, as now they do land the counter engage onto Meatbeater here, and Doge Lover does get hooked into the minefield, which does force out his flash, and Jiyoung now making his way down here from behind the Dragon Pit, uses the sweeper to spot that there are no wards that actually spot him.
Oh,
and
dude.
Gentle Monkey's bot lane might not respect it, and Doge Lover already being without the flash means that Jiyoung comes in beautifully here and sets up for another kill onto Ziggs. Now Sinner finds himself caught, flashes away from the wind, becomes lightning, as they do trade those summoner spells, and is managing to stay alive. Now the bot lane or the support rather, and the jungler for the side of 100% are teaming up to try to roam up and actually give some amount of pressure towards their mid lane, which had previously, or which had quickly beforehand, been a little bit of a played a little bit of weak side here, as he did receive that Xin Zhao gank as a cross map.
Yeah, that was really well played by 0100. But as we saw, they baited out the flash right there early on, and Vi, I think, was just in the right place, and so she was able to gank from behind. With Jin without the flash, he was just pretty much dead meat, dog meat, you could say.
Oof. Well, we do now see that the Ziggs already has a couple of item components, opting for that start towards the Lost Chapter, and also picking himself up a tier as he does make his way back from base. 2 kills for the Ziggs early on is certainly something that the side of 100% likes to see, as they are full AD without the Ziggs.
Yes, for sure. And 100%, their comp centers around, I think, a lot around snowballing. And so, GM, they're going to have to be a bit careful because, you know, if the Pike or the Ziggs or the Kiana get out of hand, it's going to be very difficult for them to come back. They still have a better team calling comp, in my opinion, but they can't let the Kiana, Ziggs, or Pike just start killing them as freely as they want to.
Moriarty once again finding himself some nice little advantages up towards the top side. This is the second game he'll be playing against the Shen, actually. And this time around, he doesn't elect to go for the Mordekaiser, goes with the Ornn instead. And so far, he's looked pretty good. Now Yoshimitsu actually managing to start up the dragon, and this does seem like 100% is pretty unaware of this. We've seen a couple of Xin Zhaos that really like to just go and try to sneak an early dragon. Vegeta also not being allowed to roam into river from Gentle Monkey here, as they're trying to mitigate some of the early advantages that they have given over so far. Oh, but now they do spot it out, and the TP does come in here for Sploxil, who now uses the ultimate onto the dragon and actually manages to secure the dragon as well, as I say, the Vi. And now here is the mid laner from the side of 100% who jumps in, finds a beautiful stun on 2 people here, and that will mean that the fight goes in favor of 100%, now finding themselves at 5 kills, whereas GM is yet to pick up their first. They do secure themselves the dragon, but the fight overall going in the favor of 100%.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate for GM right there. Lissandra did manage to TP in. I think Ornn was also teleporting up there, but Shen managed to cancel it in time. Unfortunately for them,
Maybe a dive onto the Shen here, who does utilize the W here in order to try to mitigate the damage coming out from that Ornn, as the level 6 is also reached, and that does give him a little bit more HP back. So the Ornn Horn would not even be available as the mana is too low. And now Sinner has looked pretty good mechanically on this Kiana so far, also finding himself in the perfect position with that ultimate just a couple moments ago.
yeah, this Lissandra's not having a fun time into this Kiana matchup. But Kiana has so much gap closer that it's difficult to try and stop her anyways. But Lissandra's actually not doing too bad. She's pretty even in CS. Just has to be careful of not to get completely annihilated in lane. Of course, she might be forced to back here and lose some experience or gold. But Xin Zhao's here to help.
You mentioned the mid lane talent pool, and Sinner is certainly showing some pretty fast hands as he does receive the stand united here, as they're not quite looking to go for the dive. As I say that, Nishiko is deeply under that turret. Doesn't find it in the end, so I wasn't lying.
I think a little bit of miscommunication between the mid and top lane. I think top lane thought they could have dived it, but yeah, unfortunate.
Sinner not electing to go for that, as he just finds the kill. Sploxo goes forward. Now Yoshimitsu in a bit of trouble, but does manage to go 1-for-1 in the end.
Yeah, they tried to force something right there. It was a good catch, it was a good opportunity. Unfortunately, Kiana just does a ton of damage. They still managed to get a kill, first kill of the game.
But Jiyoung might have something to say about that. Yoshimitsu does utilize the crescent sweep, and then the flash to actually get himself out of that situation, and more pressure levied from Travier here down towards the bot lane of Gentle Monkey, who are now just about, or not quite, I should say, 3,000 gold down.
Yeah, the bot lane was forced back right there, but they actually backed at a really good time because it is a cannon wave, so they don't lose as much gold as they usually would if they backed on like a non-cannon wave right here. So it's a good call by them. Unfortunately, they did have to back, but it was the right call.
It is a Ziggs though, and you know when there's only 2 turret plates remaining, that does mean that that bomb is very close to actually finishing it off. Yet another wave going into that turret here, as they missed the entire wave, even the cannon minion, and just a couple more auto attacks until the Ziggs can get that satchel charge execution onto the turret. The deadly flourish here going wide from the side of Doge Lover, as Uncertain takes a lot of damage, about half of his HP, a little bit more lost, which does force out yet another recall. And if he has to recall here, then that does mean that Ziggs is allowed to once again push in the wave, and that will certainly guarantee the satchel charge explosion onto the turret down there. The Ornn trading up towards the top side.
Just up. There isn't anyone in the area to try and stop this push right here.
Oh, that is certainly unfortunate, as there is yet another pause. It is what it is, guys. This is the reality of playing League of Legends. Now, we do see that Jiyoung is also down here, so maybe looking to dive. I guess it wouldn't be a dive if the turret is already dead, but this does look like it would be low enough for the Ziggs satchel charge to actually find that kill. I apologize, everyone, about these disconnection issues. Not much I can do about it this time around. Talk to me a little bit about what you've seen coming out from mid lane here. I think that has been a very instrumental role so far in what we have been seeing, right? We've seen Sinner actually free to roam, and Sploxilla has not quite managed to put a leash on him.
Yeah, Sploxilla's going to spiral out of control if he isn't able to. Already, Kiana's extending her gold lead, at least in the CS department, at least. But it's going to be difficult to stop him. All Lissandra can do really during fights is just ult Kiana and hope the rest of the team can follow up with the damage. But unfortunately, right now, none of their team seems to be in a good position to really follow up on the damage, at least, considering that Kiana also has a team to back her up on it.
Well, we do indeed see that there's a bit of a gold lead secured for the side of Sinner here. If my math is correct, that should be around 700. So a nice chunk of early cash that's in his favor. 2 longswords, basically, which is what a Kiana measures her own value by. And any item further than that is just a fancy longsword. Basically, a serrated dirk is like a longsword but zipped up. Or
yeah,
2
very much. Along with penetration as well. So ignores armor. It's just
Well, then let's talk a bit about some of the surprises that you're maybe witnessing in the game already. We do see that Meatbeater, for example, has bought himself instant mobility boots. Those Mobies can be used to roam, which he hasn't done yet. So that is something to take note of. Not much effectiveness, but so far the hooks just have been landing, and then those Phantom Undertows coming out and actually securing nice kills for themselves down towards the bot side. I think one of the most interesting things so far is the Vi taking that Hail of Blades.
Yeah, that is like actually quite interesting. I didn't notice that until just now. But usually if you go Halo Blades, you're looking for kind of like a one-shot um, kind of build, as you can see. But she did bring Sheen and Phage, so I think she's building into Divine Sunder, I believe, which is a pretty good item on Vi as it follows up on her one of her abilities. I forgot which one.
All right, then. Now we do see that Divine Sunder probably coming out for the Vi. I mean, there is a world where this, I think, ends up in a Trinity Force, no? Or did they change the build path? Is there no Phage in
I
Trinity
don't think
Force
Sheen.
anymore?
I don't think Sheen has builds into Trinity Force
Oh, Sheen
anymore.
definitely does. I don't know about Phage, though, as I don't have a way to check that at the moment. Maybe
Okay,
the
yeah, it does. But the Phage is the one that no longer builds into
Okay,
Triforce.
okay.
Yeah, so
I guess they
that's
changed
why
that for. What did they change it for? I
it
guess
was
a
changed
Kindle
into the
Gem.
Hearthbound Axe. Yeah, and the Hearthbound Axe, I believe.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We did see that the Lysandra reconnected here, so another bruiser item abuser coming out from Vi, even though we have seen, like, this is the second unique jungler that Gian has picked for himself. First of all, with the Hecarim. I guess there was another Hecarim at some point, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah. Another rather uncommon jungler, I should say, from the side of Jiyoung, who finds himself this time around on the Vi, maybe being able to surprise his opponents, right? The bot lane from the side of Gentle Monkey certainly was not expecting to find the Vi and the position that she came in from, punishing the flash of Doge Lover, who does now have his flash back up, so is under less threat. But if I just look at my screen, it looks pretty dire, because with that turret going down, Uncertain is still quite far away, and the damage availability from the side of Travier, Meatbeater, and Jiyoung should be rather insane. So the ultimate certainly could be levied towards them, and then if both of them just use ults, there's basically no way for Doge Lover to get out. He does flash the Phantom under, but he's dead. He's just dead. He's just playing with his.
Yeah,
He's just being played
and they
with.
burned the Flash as well.
They do
Ugh.
also. Jiyoung now looks a little bit foolish as Sinner tries to go for the solo kill. The supreme display of talent does not quite manage to find the stun in the wall, but it's inconsequential as the damage had already been done to Sploxel here. Now getting solo killed in mid looks really, really rough. We do have
During that pause, they were planning those out.
I hope that. I guess we do have to find some way of actually changing some things about the pause, as now we do see that the Ornhorn comes out for Nishiko here. Yoshimitsu trying to be given the kill, and Moriarty does do so successfully. So nice setup here. Moriarty consistently laning extremely well for Gentle Monkey here. Certainly looking very good. Meatbeater gets attacked by that bouncing grenade, but sidesteps a deadly flourish. So not the most amount of threat onto him here. Does not have the ultimate available. And Uncertain does, so he does look pretty aggressive with the Zenith Blade, and now this doesn't look so hot anymore. But Uncertain still likes to fight, as the CC combination is enough to actually secure that kill for themselves, and the bouncing grenade finds the kill, even though the curtain call was utilized, as we see actually Yoshimitsu going down to a 3-man roam here from 100%, who find themselves another cross map in their favor. I guess it wasn't really a cross map, as that was a pure 2v2 kill down towards the bot lane.
Yeah, I think this actually favors 100% though, because Spy is already on Herald. But it was really well played by GM's bot lane. Uncertain was pretty certain that she wanted to go on that Ziggs, and it was just really good follow up, and that caught them out, which is what they needed in order to come back into this game.
Well, we do see that once again, that Sinner is able to free himself from mid lane and finally finds a roam. Pyke on his first roam as well, as they do secure the Herald, and is now looking to get that mid lane turret. Satchel Charge is such an effective tool of taking these early turrets down, and the couple of turret plates that Sinner did get will be very nice for him. But even more turret plates for the Ziggs is certainly a treat here for 100%, as they find themselves their second turret of the game. In the meantime, Yoshimitsu does manage to pick up their second dragon, however.
Yeah, I think the Dragons might be their saving hope right now if they game pulls out long enough. Because right now, 100% just has so much kill potential,
A
as you see
top
up
lane
here.
dive being set up, but here is a TP coming out from Sploxo, who does get tagged up by the minefield. Rift Herald Charge will come out, as there's a bit of a bug going on, but it does come out in the end. The eye being popped means that Sploxo and Moriarty are still in this 2v4 scenario, so playing this play of talent, going wide, as Sploxo ults himself to try to stay alive for a little bit longer, flashes away from the Pyke, as he's just barely alive. Now the Phantom Undertow does stun up Moriarty, so he will fall. Sploxo being ignited from Meep Eater means that both of them do go down, and no cross map being set up quite yet. Extremely close dive.
It was extremely close. Little Sandro pulled out all the moves she could. She's almost every... Oh, she still has flash up.
She still has flash. How did she get over there?
I
I guess maybe an
she
E.
must have
Probably.
E'd.
Yeah, she must have E'd. And that was a very nice E then. That has to be said, as it's just not quite enough for her. There was no opportunity to flash as well, as how are you supposed to flash away from that ignite damage?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think they may should have just given up. There was always going to be a 2v4, which then not even being in the area, it wasn't going to favor them unless they kind of miracle or big misplay would happen. So they did their best though. I'll give them that.
If I look at Uncertain's pathing here, that does look like they hard disconnected. So another DC for the side of Gentle Monkey, who seem to be afraid to pause the game here. There is a maximum pause setup in the SLE of 15 minutes, and I believe we're at 17 at the moment, so very close to that, as the internet problems continue for Gentle Monkey.
Yeah, they really need that Leona too for the CC. She has just a ton of lockdown potential to get Vi or Kiana off of Jin or any of their carries, essentially.
Well, we will hope that they can reconnect to the game soon, as the game does not wait for them this time around. Now a mid lane shove being set up for 100%, who look to continually put pressure and priority into that mid lane. Now Yoshimitsu and Moriarty are under scrutiny. Another 2v4 being in the cards, but maybe this time around Sploxo can be the third instead of just the second. Moriarty finding the Ornhorn onto Jiyoung here, and Meepeater also dropping down as both of them just go down. Oh, it's starting to snowball for the side of 100%. You said yourself that they would have... Oh no, another disconnect here for Gentle Monkey, as it's just going from bad to worse, and nothing is working out for them this game.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for GM, and they just left as well. Back. It's still really unfortunate. It's kind of a 4v, 3v5 at the moment, so... I mean, props to 100% just capitalizing on their lead, though. Doing everything they need to just extend it.
Well, the Uncertain does look to be moving again, as momentarily Sploxo will also respawn. Not quite back in the game, as I tell a lie. Sploxo is back, does not have his mythic yet, however, and that can be pretty rough. I think that Orin is pretty close to completing theirs, as we do finally see an attempt made on the Kiana's life. Uncertain does land a very nice NF blade. Solar Flare, however, going wide, and now the Stand United comes out onto Sinner here. Nishiko being quite low, though, and the 2v5 this time around comes out from the side of Gentle Monkey, and they do find a punish. Do you see a way for Gentle Monkey to come back in this game, even though they might be down about 10,000 gold?
It's going to be very difficult. They need to first softly zig push. They need to manage their waves a bit better in the sense. But right now, they are coming down here to stop the zig push, so we'll see if they can try and...
The amount of gold Ziggs receive from the turret plates, from all the turrets, and also sitting at a decent CS score. He's sitting at 8.4k gold, which is more than 2,000 of his lane opponent. So a huge amount of gold that he's an advantage. And as I gasp about the gold difference in the bot lane, I turn my eyes towards mid lane and they almost fall out of my head as there is over 3,000 gold in favor of Sinner here over Sploxo.
The only one that seems to be doing okay is top lane right now, but Orin, I don't know if he can take all the damage, tank all of it from the Ziggs, the Kiana, the Pike as well. He's just one small big guy. But here they go on the Dragon.
This is one of those things where the longer I look at it, I'm like, oh my goodness, 3k gold's really bad. I see, oh, 2k gold's really bad. Oh my goodness, 3k gold's really bad. Wait, there's 4k gold difference in support?
Yeah, this Leona has not been having a good time, but it is Pike, so you know he does
Yeah.
take the kills, and then he is able to share among his teammates. So, and he does have the most kills on the team, so it does make sense as opposed to the Leona, who has no kills and only 4 assists right
And
now.
you don't want a lot of gold on Leona, to be fair. And Pike
Oh
certainly
yeah, for
falls
sure.
off a lot in the later stages of the game. If maybe some resistances can be built up. If, I mean, the ornaments, they're certainly out there. They're certainly out there. They can change the course of a game. And the tools that, for example, Sploxo has are not entirely reliant on him having a lot of gold, as he does have the ability to, for example, stall out a team fight incredibly well, lock someone down, and maybe find some CC on key members or engages and things along those lines. Now they
I
do
think
place the Herald
GM
down and try to crack open the base. This would be a very early inhibitor take for the side of 100%, but they have looked to be able to convert on it. Ziggs dealing a tremendous amount of damage, actually does it before the Herald gets their charge off, and now do they look to continue pushing this? Stand United is just about to be available as the TP is already up. Now they are continuing to shove this wave down, probably just looking for another Herald charge. It is going to be smited down and then the wind becomes lightning. Does secure that, so the pressure does dissipate from that Herald at the moment. Baron up in just about a minute here.
I don't know if this was planned by GM, but they just gave that up. None of them were in position to stop it. They knew they had Herald on it, and they knew they were pushing in mid, but they just kind of let them push in freely. So I don't know if that was like a decision by them or if they just all caught out.
Well, just the speed with which they push is quite insane. As they do now look to maybe find the kill onto Sinner, who was under scrutiny once already, but uncertain-ish, or uncertain as they are now called, does not find the Zenith Blade, so that does mean that Sinner tries to go for the 1v1 against Yoshimitsu with the supreme display of talent, and then gets out with the Blast Cone. And a 4-man push now coming out here. Moriarty using the Call of the Forge God lands a 3-man knockup as Jiyoung uses the flash out, but does once again get knocked out. Stand United coming up once again, and oh my goodness, as he comes out, he blocks the 4th shot of Gen Ultimate. Sploxo finally finds what I asked to see before, and Jiyoung not having the greatest of ultimates as Moriarty does flash away. This time around, Yoshimitsu and Sinner in a 1v1. Ignite comes out, but Yoshimitsu does find that kill, and with the not presence of mind but triumph, he will stay alive here. And this game is getting a little bit wet and wily here. The gold lead also being close a little bit.
Yeah, Orin did it just as he needed. He's the one that is the only one that's pretty even with the rest of the 100%, and he initiated that fight bot, and his team was able to follow up as well with both Lysandra and Leona. Lysandra, of course, has a ton of AoE damage, so she was able to kind of just erupt the center of it, as we saw, and then just Jhin damage was just able to follow up so much onto the Lysandra. Even though Lysandra died, the Jhin was able to get the vision with his ultimate and just finish off or at least catch up a bit. So it is starting to fall a bit even, but they, of course, 100% still has a massive lead.
Well, we have a saying in German that goes something like, hope dies last. So maybe some hope is still within Gentle Monkey after they find themselves a successful fight. Baron now being on the menu for the side of 100%, as they on the other hand want to close their game out. And justifiably so, right? This has looked very, very dominant for them. And they have also picked themselves their first dragon on the way to the Ocean Soul. And the denial of that is certainly important. Next one also coming up pretty soon, as they do now have the advantage of the Baron buff. If Gentle Monkey can overcome their internet issues, there might actually be a way for them back into this game, as Sinner tries to look to just tell me how unbelievably wrong I am about that.
It's insane. Although Jin was just standing right next to the wall, so it set up Kiana absolutely perfectly to just ult and just throw her W out. It just basically all her damage she has in her kit.
Moriarty feels like a little bit one against the world here, as they are now standing in front of this top lane tier 3 turret, looking to maybe shove that in with a Baron buff that they do have available, as they are starting to clear out some of the vision here. Uncertain is actually kind of dealing with the minions in front of the Nexus turrets here, as
The Pike is
he's feeling frisky, but that is what Pyke is able to do, as now we do see that Yoshimitsu might be looking down towards these two stealth champions here. Wind Becomes Lightning does actually tag up the Pyke, and that does mean that he can maybe find this kill onto him. Phantom Undertow does stun him up. Oh, and there is a lot of CC coming out from the side of 100%, and
Whoa.
the Pyke execute just finds the kill off the back end. Sinner setting that up nicely with the amount of damage that he was able to do. No stopwatch available. Oh, Spoxer with a fancy feed is not able to sidestep the Pyke ultimate though, and now the resets have come through, and with that he's reset back to base. Moriarty up in the 1v2 and does not get the second activation of the Oran Horn, as the Call of the Forge God does find a little bit of CC extension onto Jiyoung, but that will not matter in the end. This looks like the last leg that Magento Monkey is standing on right now, and with a Ziggs and this amount of minions, that is certainly scary. Satchel Charge does not finish off the turret, as it was placed a little bit too early, but that Ziggs auto attack just chunks it down massively, and now the second inhibitor in mid lane might fall. Early inhibs are dangerous, as now all three inhibs fall for the side of Gentle Monkey. 4 players alive, and Moriarty about to come back up as well. Will his schemes and antics save his team, or will they fall here? Uncertain and Yoshimitsu both finding some fights that they do seem to like, as the Supreme Display of Talent is used as a defensive cooldown here. Moriarty slowly walking forward, lands the Searing Charge here onto Nishiko, as Yoshimitsu drops very, very low while trying to chase Sinner, and he finds the kill over the wall. That is unfortunate. Now, maybe Moriarty is trying to find some damage back onto the Pyke here, as they are looking to continually shove in the pressure, shove in the waves, and now 3 minion waves with double super minions, and this is just a feast with low health targets here for Meep Eater, who has had a terrific game up against some struggling opponents. A lot of pauses, a very long pause, and some internet issues, but some beautiful stuff coming out here from the side of 100%, who once again have a very, very good game here for themselves. Looked certainly very impressive. The draft also being very interesting with another Ziggs pick. I really like those Ziggs picks, man.
Yeah, for sure. The Sig pick matched up the Pike. Then once they got a lead, they were able to extend it, and it was just a snowball from there essentially. The whole comp really just did what they needed to do, get ahead early, and then just capitalize on it. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And they were just GM, of course. They were able to come back from that. It was a bit unfortunate. There are some external factors as well that played into it. So it might have played out differently if they did, but this is what ended up happening though.
But what has to be said is, no matter what happened on the side of Gentle Monkey, 100% certainly looked very, very good. And the only person that struggled a little bit was that top side. So picking the Shen into the Ornn, how do you feel about that sort of after the game now?
I mean, it was a safe pick. It wasn't going to dominate the lane. It also wasn't going to hard lose the lane either. So it was just all around safe pick. I believe the Shen pick was more focused on just a global presence rather than just a top lane presence. But I think they were just going to give up that top lane either way, to just focus on the other carries that they have, which were the Ziggs, Pyke, Kiana, and even potentially the Vi as well.
Well, we do have an interview ready, and it will be with Travier, who had another amazing performance here in SLE. Once again, hi, Travier. Welcome, welcome. This is your second game. You looked very, very good in that Ziggs position.
I mean, I hope so. We kind of practice it. It was something my mid laner told me. He wanted this Ziggs flex pick. We can play it into mid, we can play it into bot. We still have the option for an AD mid laner open. And in my opinion, the longer the game goes on, at some point, Ziggs just deals a terrific amount of damage, and there's really no stopping him.
Yeah, yeah. And we did see that there was full AD coming out from around it, and then you did have the Shen pick to sort of peel for you and secure that. So a nicely set up comp that you guys made up for yourself here. What were some of the goals that you had going into the game?
One of the goals was that our mid laner was saying before the game, if they don't ban Kiana, we kind of have to insta-pick Kiana. And we said, okay, if you want to play Kiana, we'll pick it on 3 because we can have the Ziggs flex pick. And once we pick Kiana, we can ban counters. And I mean, after we did that, again, our support is super comfortable on Pike. And I think he's just completely cracked on the champ.
He looked
And I
insane.
mean, we get an early lead bot, and I think then there's no stopping us. We can just rotate the Ziggs over the map, take all the turrets. I think I destroyed 7 turrets with it. I did more damage to turrets than to enemy champions, so I think that says a lot about the game.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a pity that our enemies or our opponents had to struggle with the internet connection, because it always bears the question, how would the game would have turned out if these issues weren't present, and when there was a more fair 5v5. So I'm really sorry for them that happened, but overall I think we just played to our strength, and it was just a clean sweep.
Well, I think it was very, very clean, and in the end of the day, you do now find yourselves at 2-0, I believe. So that will lock you in for for Division 1 rather, and maybe you get to have a rematch with Gentlemonkey once the actual part of the league starts, and if they find themselves in Division 1. What are some of your expectations generally coming into SLE here? What are you trying to do here?
So basically we're just trying to have this rather pretty competitive environment for 5v5 games. And I think so far it's always that before a game you get a little bit nervous and you try to understand the enemy's strategy and all these aspects around that I think League doesn't give you in any other way. So I think from what we expected, it's definitely delivering so far.
So I know that you are a bit of a ping pong cracker, and that's how you guys came together, right? So do you think that the ping pong physics helped you to land so many bouncing bombs?
Of course, I mean, I've studied the trajectory of balls bouncing on 2 sides and then trying to place them in the right corner with the right amount of spin. So I think that's why I'm just naturally gifted on this champ.
Of
No,
course.
but in all fairness, I believe that just Ziggs is a super versatile champ, and it actually isn't really that hard to play, especially with this 10 and 2 of a Pike next to you, because you just place your E and he hooks them into it, and then it's really not that big of a deal to hit any skills. So I believe the pick is just super support dependent, and I had it really easy this game.
Well, I made a little bit of a joke about the ping pong physics, right? But what you did mention is that you were on a team together. You were playing ping pong on a team together, and sort of I could see the way that you guys actually moved throughout the map. It was absolutely beautiful how you were set up to just take turret after turret. You mentioned you did more damage to turrets than to champions. It was crazy just how many turret plates were funneled into you. You were absolutely massive. Thank you so much for coming on, having the second interview already. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch you and to talk to you, and I wish you best of luck for SLE.
Well, thanks for having me, and I hope after the next game I can be in this channel again and talk to you guys again.
Well, see you around. So, then, we wrap up day number 5 with 2 very interesting games. Hopefully, Gentlemonkey can overcome some of the external circumstances, and I hope I can overcome some of my external circumstances as well. Talk to me a bit about the learnings of today.
I think for today, I mean, the first game is also quite well, Momentum has really established themselves as one of the top teams in the league. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone can really match them going forward. I'm looking forward to the team that is able to. I think the drafting phase as well for these teams, but all the teams today were also pretty spot on and solid as well. So that's something that they should all take with a good bit of pride today.
Well, we might just be having another interview here. as we are trying, or I'm trying to set that up here. Let's try to get that going. And while we do that, you can maybe sort of talk to me a little bit more about why you think that we're now starting to see more solid drafts that you mentioned.
I think as the teams play more together and they play more scrims together, they find more comps that are solid and work out for them. And so they also find out which comps don't work out for them. And also during these scrims as well, I'm assuming that they're able to differentiate what enemy teams as well, what they need to have banned or what they will out pass the ban phase at least, or what they're able to balance onto, yeah, we can play against this or we can't play against this. So I think as it just goes on, teams just become more coordinated together and they become more aware of the other teams as well, and so know what to ban and not to ban, or what to pick, or which comps are strong.
Do you want to see some picks a little bit more maybe? Is there anything where you're like, guys, you gotta pick this up?
As of right now, nothing off the top of my head. I guess the Ziggs picks I would definitely like to see more. It can fit into a lot of different comps as well. I guess Oriana is one too. I just love Oriana. So she has she works well with a lot of champions. Of course, it depends on what kind of comp you're going for. So she is like a situational kind. But I guess Ziggs, Oriana are two of the standout ones that I look forward to.
Well, we do actually have an interview ready. This time around, it will be Ruzu joining us in the caster room. Ruzu, thank you so much for coming on, even after that game that took a little bit longer due to all the pausing. Thank you still for taking the time and talking to us. How was the game for you?
I think it's just been a stomp after he picks GP R2. He just leaves too much room for me to counterpick him.
Yeah.
And then I just comfort pick my Tom Kench into the GP.
Well, we were doubting the Tom Kench pick on the casting desk. We were like, well, he gets out of the Devour so easily, and he can even W the Ignite, and then you solo kill on level 2.
Yes, exactly.
So what happened?
As you've seen after the after I hit level 6 and I eat him, and when he oranges my ult,
Yeah.
it's still not in favor for him because I can still run him down with my slows, with my Q,
Yeah.
and just kill him. Actually,
Especially in the longer lanes, right? You guys actually got to kill the turrets pretty quickly because of the advantages. Like, oh my goodness, you dove that man like 4 times or something. It was pretty crazy. And so that actually allowed you to like set up very long lanes. And then with the Tahm Kench, you basically just like spam W off cooldown and you can just run him down, as you said. So yeah, once again, you come in with a spicy pick. Day one when you were playing, or I guess it wasn't day one, but in your first game, we didn't know where the Lilia was going, and then you picked it up. And yesterday you played it as well. That time around, your dives were not so successful, but you still managed to secure yourself laning advantages. And more spicy picks coming out from you here. So can we see that more in the future, or can we expect to see that more in the future?
yeah, definitely. We're still thinking of different comps to go and different synergies. Like the Lydia, that one was pretty new, and it didn't really work as well with the Trundle that we picked in the game 2. So we're just working on the spicy picks and while we play this tournament.
Do you think that you're gonna get KO at any point?
Kill's not a spicy pick. It's already in my arsenal.
I know, but like I mean, everyone bans Kale against you. People are terrified of it. Do you think that you're ever gonna get your hands onto it?
I don't think so.
Don't.
It's also a flex pick for us, so.
Ooh, maybe revealing some draft secret. I guess if they check the
maybe.
OPGG, if they check the OPGG, they'd know. And yeah, you're mentioning that it is not spicy, but it is like a turbo insane. It looks turbo insane on your OPG. I'm not even going to lie to you. So SU Momentum now at 3-0, going cleanly into Division 1. What team do you want to play most against?
I think Curtain Call Gaming will give us a run for our money, and I think they can actually beat us.
Ooh.
So I'm looking forward to that.
What makes Curtain Call Gaming so good?
Their jungler and mid laner are kind of insane. They're pretty good.
Okay, okay. Well, this is the most humble interview we've had so far, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and get your perspective sort of on how you feel about some of the champion picks and being this humble after you. I mean, there's no two ways around it. After you stomped top lane, right? You stomped top lane. It's very nice to see. Thank you so much
I
for
know.
coming on today.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, Yamden, finally, we actually get to wrap up the day. It's been an absolute pleasure to once again cast with you. I'm just having so much fun. I love doing this. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to bring you guys all the live content. And even though we had some technical problems, I think we all still had a good time.
Yeah, for sure. I had a good time, and you had a good time. I hope you guys out there had a good time as well.
Well, thank you for coming on, everyone. Thank you for watching all the games today. Tomorrow we will be seeing the debut of Zero Gaming, who we've seen 0 games so far from. I believe they're going up against Arctic Hollow and 100%. I could be wrong, as I just quickly double check my schedule so I don't look so silly. But yeah, that will be the first time we will actually get to see them play. And I'm certainly excited to see what they have. And I am not lying to you guys. And their final game and the final game of the tournament, of the opening tournament, will be Zero Gaming against Gentle Monkey, which will be on Friday. Thank you, everyone, for watching, for coming on, and for staying patient with us. We appreciate you guys.